Hello and welcome to another home exercise video tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about grip strength. It's a very common question. People ask me, Rob, how do I improve my grip strength? There are many different ways. I'm only going to cover the ways that I think are safest in a home exercise environment. So there may be some other things that you can do more in a gym-based environment, but I'm not going to cover those. This is all about the home. Okay, so first of all, probably one of the best moves. It's with our good friend the resistance band, although it looks a bit different at the moment. I've rolled it up and I've made it into a sausage shape here. So you need to make your resistance band into a sausage shape. You can do this standing, you can do this sitting, whatever works for you. If you want to concentrate a little bit more on the move, maybe start sitting. So ideally I'd want this band to be a little bit bigger, but it still does the job. So where we're going to be, we're going to hold the sausage shaped resistance band vertically. We've got one hand on the bottom and we've got one hand at the top. So we can see from a side on view there as well. You'll see with my wrists, if I bring my wrist down here, it's actually bent a little bit inwards. So as long as that causes no discomfort, that gives us the range of motion to pull out and up. So then our wrists become neutral. Okay, so they become neutral. So we're coming from this position here to this position here, pulling up as well. Okay, it's a very good move. Because your arms are coming towards the midline of your body, you might get a squeeze in your chest there as well. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. It's very easy to hold your breath. You may feel a little bit of a shake on this one, as long as there's no pain or any peculiar sensations coming along with this move. Make sure that you don't bend too far, okay? And make sure that you don't bend inwards and put pressure into those very vulnerable wrist joints there. So you want to come from an inward curve into a neutral wrist position. Other things to look out for is over tensing, getting a little bit too competitive with oneself, so really shaking or shoulders rolled forward. You always want to pay attention to that technique, the technique approach there. Like a lot of held moves, I would say you want to hold to that point where you feel mildly discomfort, you feel like the muscles are working, they're getting a little bit warmer, but there's no pain, peculiar sensations. Maybe you've held there for 5-6 seconds, then relax, have a little rest, and you can breathe naturally throughout and start again. This is one of my favourite moves for grip strength here. So use the sausage resistance band, my friends. Also what we've got, you might have hand grips at home. There's people that love these, people that hate these stress balls. But in my opinion, as long as it's that you feel a little bit of a test and you're gripping something, so we've got a basketball stress ball here. You may do the sets and reps, keeping that wrist in a neutral position. When you're squeezing, you don't have to use your wrist to get a bigger squeeze. That's a different motion. So wrist always has to be neutral. Okay? Fantastic. Both sides, same numbers of times through sets and repetitions, and you can also time the holds there as well. So it might be that you just do a continuous hold, keep breathing, be aware as you hold, the tension in the muscles is going to build, so don't get too close to your absolute maximum. When you feel, yep, that's working, I feel like the muscles are working, it's a little bit warmer, then stop, build it up nice and slowly. Other things we can do, very, very similar principle. You might say, Rob, I don't have a stress ball at home. Everyone owns a towel, okay? So you can roll the towel up relatively tight. It's a bigger sausage this time. It's all about the sausage shape today. And with this one here, what you can do, holding out in front of you, is just gripping, as simple as that. Gripping into the towel. Maybe you want to pull it wide a little bit as well. So pulling a little bit wide, engaging those shoulder blades with that shoulder rolls to the side of the rib cage there, and just the grip into the towel. And it's amazing how much muscle tension you can actually get from that If you wanted to, similar to another video I've done with the band, you could perform pulls and presses with the towels. You could perform front raises here from a standing position. I know my head's gone out the shot as well. So towels, who would have known it? The towel can be a very useful exercise, piece of exercise equipment as well. Other thing with grips, the last two things I'll say before we end this video. Let's get this chair out of the way. One of the best things for gripping is just carrying items in the correct way. So sometimes our grip is really hassled in everyday life because we've got different weighted shopping bags. Usually the handles are very, very thin. We're all out of balance. We're not even mindful of the weight that we're carrying. Sometimes those shopping bags can get surprisingly heavy very, very quick. So I've got my good friends, the tins here. Pick a weight that's challenging for you. But what we're going to do, I'm going to step back so we've got my full body in shot. This is a very good chance to practice posture points as well as grip. So you don't need to have conventional dumbbells. We've got our tins at the side. Posture points, looking forward, chin ever so lightly tucked in, shoulders floating to the side of your rib cage, the midway point there. Tuck that tailbone in, and with the bottom of the ribs just make sure that they're lightly clamped down. Then I've got my neutral posture here. Don't force yourself into symmetry, just get as close as you can, feeling comfortable to that optimal position. With the weights, you'll notice, or the tins, that they're not resting on the sides of my body, they're ever so slightly to the sides. You'll notice that my wrists are nice and neutral, I'm not scooping my wrists round. And then from here, it's walking in the correct posture. I know I'm going to lose my head a little bit. Being very careful on the turns. So as you're turning, turn slowly. The last thing you want to do is twist a knee. So turn in stages. Depending on where you live, you might have a nice big hallway. You might pick up the pace a little bit. Be aware of the items on the floor. In our own homes, there can be anything from toys to shoes to carpets and so on. So be aware of all these things. The last thing that I'll say, with those walks, by the way, you might want to do them either so I'm going to continue this for 5 minutes, or if you have a longer stretch in your house, I'm going to do 10 shuttle walks with the weights at my side. The very, very last thing I'll say, so I've got a beam here. I know not many people will have a beam, but this will go for any resistance band move as long as you feel comfortable. Another thing with grip strength is just change your grips. So if we're doing a cable, a resistance band pull here, I've got the neutral grip here. If I come to overhand grip, it slightly changes the trajectory of my arms, and now I've got more the above side of my forearms engaged, which all helps support the wrist. If I come to here, I've got more recruitment from my biceps, and now I've got the underside of the forearm. It's very easy on this one to curve the wrists up or have the wrists back. It's not as natural, this position. So be aware of the neutral wrist. Promote that neutral wrist in every move, pretty much, that you do, excluding the wall press, I would say. So there we have it. Grip strength. It's important, and I hope that was a helpful tutorial for you guys. Thanks.